made this talk last night, and I volunteered for next month, but apparently there are no speakers for this month's meetup. So pardon me if the talk is a little bit rushing.
Sure.
So I'm talking about bundler, and the motivation for this talk is that I always wondered why. Before I installed like bundler 1.1, now it's already at bundler 1.7. I mean, what are they updating? I'm using the same commands over and over again. Just bundle install, bundle update, and bundle exec, and yet there are so many versions coming out. I was curious what else is there. So obviously the commands of bundler aren't just what's being updated in the, they're changing things under the hood as well. But so for my talk, I'm going to talk about the commands that we don't normally use for bundler. So I'm curious, how many commands do you know and use for bundler? 3.
Install, update.
I use bundle and install.
Bundle show.
What?
Deployment.
That doesn't count. That's not.
That's about a bundle install.
You know more than everyone else already. So there are actually 19 commands as of 1.7. But it's strange actually, because the documentation in their website, they list a different command in their man page. So I'm not sure why it's inconsistent. So probably just somebody didn't update it. So I'd say about 19 commands, and this is, for me, these are the bundle commands I know. So these are the bundle calls some commands as primary commands. There are actually 5 or 6 primary commands, but I'm not going to talk about all of the primary commands. You can look it up in the bundler.io website or with bundle help. So if you forget bundle commands, this is the command that you don't want to forget. So with bundle help, you see all the commands that that bundle has. So even I didn't know there was a bundle help. So as I said, there are 19 commands, but we're just gonna explore these 6. So these are the simple ones that I thought that maybe some of you might find useful or something you'd like to try. So first, bundle check. So if it just checks if the dependencies in the gems in the gem file is satisfied. So most probably, if you have a project, this is the output, because it's probably working. But if in case, like for example, you look up an old project, or for a project that doesn't have the dependencies, it's gonna say basically it's not satisfied, run bundle install. So that's bundle check. Then bundle clean. So sometimes we update, when bundle update, when we end up having multiple versions of the gems in our system or in the bundler path. And if you want to remove the older versions, so this is what you want to run, bundle clean. And if you notice that if you don't specify the path, so you're using the system gems, then it won't allow you to run bundle clean unless you specify first. Because basically, if you have multiple projects in your computer and then you run bundle clean, then it's gonna remove all the older versions that might be still used by other projects. So this would be the output if you don't set forth or if you don't have a custom bundler path. And then bundle updated, it's quite straightforward. So it lists the outdated gems in your project. So it basically just have a bullet points of the gems, and then it shows the latest version and the version that you have. So that's bundle updated. And then bundle console, it's basically just IRB, but the gem file is loaded. So I'm just demonstrating here that when you require access false because it's already loaded. So in case, like for example, you want to experiment with a new gem and you don't want to load your entire Rails, app by running Rails console, then you can just bundle console. And then this was being discussed earlier. So bundle open, and then the gem name opens the source of the gem in your choice text editor. So for example, so it uses bundler editor environment variable, but if that's not set, then it will use the editor environment variable. So for example, in this case, if it's Sublime, then when you run bundle open wrap, then it will open the source of wrap in Sublime. So it could work with your other text editors as well. And then, for bin stubs, can I see a raise of hands on who's not familiar with bin stubs? Not familiar with bin stubs. Okay. So it's basically generating bin stubs is like a Ruby wrapper, so that in this case, normally we run bundle exec rate so that it doesn't just run any version of rate, but the rate that's specified in your gem file. So in case this is too long for you, I know a lot of people actually like make a shortcut like BE or something so that they don't have to type the entire bundle exec. But bundler also provides this, so when you run bundle bin stubs rate, then it will have a rate wrapper under bin. So you can run the same command earlier with just this. So actually in Rails 4, starting Rails 4, when you generate a Rails project, there's already a bin directory, and it already contains a few executables like rate, Rails, and maybe rspec if you generated Rails with rspec. In this case, you don't really need to for Rails 4, you don't need to generate bin stubs for rate because Rails 4 already has a bin stub for rate. But that applies obviously to the other gems that's not yet under the bin directory of your Rails project. So bundle bin stubs, and then the specific gem, and then the gem executable will be provided under the bin directory. So most of the commands I've shown so far, there are options obviously. So for example, for bundle bin stubs, you can specify a separate directory where you want the bin stubs installed. So for those of you who write gems, I think it's not recommended to generate bin stubs under bin. I've read something about it. It will mess up when people install your gem. Then if you generate it under bin, it will mess up their environment. So for those who are late, I'm actually wrapping up. So these are the utility commands that we discussed. Bundle check, clean, updated, console, open, and bin stubs. As I've said, there are 19 commands in version 1.7 of Bundler. So you can check them out with bundle help, or they go into their website. And for those of you who are not familiar with bin stubs, this is actually a good article. It's under the RPN Source wiki GitHub page, but the article isn't actually specific to RPN. It discusses in the context of bundler, RPN, RVM, so it's quite generic and it explains the concept very well. The setup was actually longer than the Hey, do you have questions? So I actually only learned about these commands the last few weeks because as I was preparing this talk, because as I said, the motivation for the talk was I was curious what other commands there were. So I probably won't be able to answer your comments. Your questions.
So don't make sense.
Yes.
Would it be a bad practice to always be using bundle exec for stuff like rate?
It's a bad practice to
Is it?
use bundle exec.
Oh yeah, every time.
it's tedious. It's not. I don't think it's bad practice. Some people still use bundle exec. Yeah, but anyway, if you use tab, so usually deal in tab, it doesn't take long, but yeah, for some people they make a shortcut like they alias PE for bundle exec. But I think with bin stubs, it's no longer necessary.
Well, does Rake run bin stubs for us when we're like, does it create bin stubs for us when we create a project or something?
Can you repeat that?
Does it create the bin stubs for us when we create a project?
When you create a project starting in Rails 4, Rake will actually have a bin stub already. So Rails generates that.
Okay.
So if you see the generated files, there's a bin directory, and there, Rails Rake. So that was just an example. You could use any other gem that has an executable. So just bin stub. So before, I'm not sure what version the bin stubs command was introduced, but before that, there's an option when you install, I think -- bin stubs or something like that, and what it does is generates bin stubs for all the gems in your gem file. So, but I read that it's more recommended to actually specify the specific gem, so that only because most projects have so many gems, so
it doesn't pollute your bin directory.
yeah.
Okay.
So for those commands that you regularly use, and you don't want to keep on typing the entire bundle exec, then just generate a bin stub for it, and then it's just bin / that executable.
Okay. So there's no more reason for us to always use bundle except just to run Rake or something, because at our team, sometimes my team tells me off for not using bundle except to run Rake, like they use it religiously.
They use bundle exec religiously, or
To run Rake.
yeah, because what bundle exec does is that you make sure that the point is to make sure that the version of Rake you're using is the one in the gem file. So when you do bin stubs, it's the same thing. So it loads bundler, and it makes sure that the Rake version that you're using is the one in gem file. So it's, I would say they're equivalent. So instead of bundle exec, it's gonna be bin / the gem executable.
Using bundle exec is actually best practice.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Does Rails 4 uses bundle under the hood to generate the bin stubs?
No. So you might want to read that article I showed you. I'll post this in the
User group.
yeah. I'll post this in the user group. Yeah. So you should check out this. Actually, I think if you just search bin stubs, I'm not sure what I searched, but it's one of the top results in Google actually. It's a pretty well written article. So you'll see there how it's implemented in different, like how Bundler implements it. And you might want to check out if you have a Rails 4 project, open your bin directory and open what's inside because they're just Ruby files. So you will see like there's a required Ruby gems, and for bundler they like include the bundler setup thing, and then so it's very short, like 4 lines of Ruby code actually. So this is a wrapper.
I think in addition in Rails 4.1, they also modify the Rake and Rails bin stub if you want to enable Spring. So it just adds another line. And if you compare the bin stub generated using bundler and the bin stub generated when you run, I think, Rake bundle something, it's slightly different.
Yeah.
But I think the end result is the same. The point is it has to load first bundler, then check the gem file and load whatever is the version in the gem file.
Yeah. So what you can do is so when you have a Rails 4 project, so you already have bin Rake. So check out the options of the bin stubs command, specify a different path, and then do that for bundle bin stubs Rake, and then specify the different path, and then you could just open the two files, the rate from Rails and the bin stub from Rails and the bin stub from Bundler, you can see the difference. So
Okay.
it's different.